Thank you, Brian. Thank you, Rapid. Thank you, Payroll Congress, for having me. Thank you all for being here. Give yourselves a round of applause. It is an honor to be with all of you today. In my 10 years of working with some of the largest and most influential organizations in the world, I've really learned that there's one thing that they do to attract and retain top talent, to navigate an overwhelming future of work, and to drive massive innovation and growth in the payroll industry. And that is, they build a culture of human connection and belonging. And I think we throw this word belonging out all of the time. We don't necessarily know what it means, but we know how it feels. We know it when we see it. We know it when we experience it. We certainly know when it's missing, when it's not in the room or not on the Zoom call or the Teams call. Now, I first learned about belonging way back over 25 years ago, the first week of high school, freshman year. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts. I went to a very big public high school, over 2,000 kids, and I wanted to play a sport my freshman year. Now, y'all can see me right now. We're not on like a Teams call. Like, I'm not that big of a dude. Football, out of the question. Not gonna happen. Hockey, please. Soccer, also out of the question. Our soccer team's like the best team in the state. So I went out for one of the only sports left, which was, can anyone guess? Cross country. Now, I didn't even know what the sport was. I assumed it was skiing, but it's actually just running. You go run 3 miles or 5 miles or 10 miles on the weekends. So a couple weeks into practice, we are doing a hill workout, which is exactly what it sounds like. You're just running up and down the hill over and over and over again. So I'm outside, having a good time, smiling, getting exercise. New England, fall weather. My coach is this hard-nosed Boston guy, and he just starts screaming at me. What the hell are you doing smiling, kid? Stop smiling, stop puking. Stop smiling, stop puking, kids, stop puking. After that, the team nicknamed me Smiley. I was the slowest kid on the team. I never placed at any of our races, but I was like our cheerleader. I'd get us pumped up before every single race. I ended up running cross-country, indoor and outdoor track, all 12 seasons, all 4 years of high school. And guess what? I became captain my senior year. I was still the slowest kid on the team. But I had a role to play. I mattered. I belonged. And I think at its very essence, at its very core, that's what belonging is. This sense that every single person on our team, every single person in this room, every single person in the payroll industry matters. Whether they've been with us for 20 years, for 2 years, for 2 weeks, they matter, they belong. And the problem is that most people go to work every day and they come home from work every day and they don't feel this basic sense of belonging. In fact, 70% of Americans right now are disengaged at their jobs. 70%. 1/5 of those people are so disengaged, they're actively undermining their coworkers' work. They're literally getting paid by the company they work for to screw things up for that company. Now, that should be a concern to all of you in the room that are leaders. It means there's people on your team that sometimes feel like they don't have a voice, sometimes feel like they shouldn't be there, like they don't belong. But I really think it should be a concern to everyone because it means that millions of people are waking up every day unhappy, unfulfilled, sometimes depressed, not showing up fully for themselves, their coworkers, their colleagues, their company, or the communities and the people that they serve. Now, this statistic means a lot to me personally because a few years ago, I was one of those 70%. I was living in Washington, D.C. at the time, working a job that on paper was pretty good. Decent job, decent salary, healthcare, benefits, job security. I go to happy hour and tell everyone my job title. I'm like, that's so cool, Smiley, let me get your business card. My boss was impressed. My friends were impressed. My parents were impressed. Everything was perfect about this job except for one tiny, kind of important thing. I was miserable. How did I know I was miserable? Every single morning when my alarm clock would go off at 6 in the morning, I'd feel a shooting pain go up and down my back. Felt it when I got out of bed, when I brushed my teeth, when I put on my suit and tie, when I left the house, when I took the bus to work, when I scanned my ID badge at the office and rode the elevator up to the 8th floor, when I was sitting at my desk typing memos and talking points, when my boss would email me every single night on my BlackBerry at 10 p.m. We used Blackberries back then. The pain was so bad it actually turned into shingles on my side. Shingles is gross. Shingles is a nerve disease often related to stress that's common on people over the age of 80, not 20-somethings like I was at the time. And I was spending a lot of time, like many young people, but frankly like everyone these days, on social media, overdosing on FOMO, fear of missing out, worried about what my friends were doing. So there was my friend going to business school, and I was like, yeah, I should get my MBA. There was a friend becoming a teacher. I should become a teacher. There was a friend, she was opening up her own food truck, and I was like, yes, that's it. I'm gonna open up a food truck. I'm like not a great chef, and I'm like the world's worst driver. Bad idea to get in a car with me. And I see a photo of a buddy of mine that I'd gone to college with. He had already graduated from one of the top law schools in the country, got this job at this amazing firm in New York City, was making a ton of money, had a penthouse apartment in New York, and I see a photo of him, and he's traveling with his girlfriend in Peru, proposing at sunset in front of Machu Picchu. I'm like, man, this guy's got it all figured out. He's got this amazing job. He's got this penthouse apartment. He's getting married. I hate my job. I hate my life. Like, I can't even get a date on Tinder. My life is ruined. I'm a goner. I'm never going to make it. It was actually only when I spent a little time off of social media that I was able to flip this quarter-life crisis, third-life crisis, midlife crisis into a breakthrough and find more meaning, find more belonging, find more connection in my life and in my work. So today I just want to walk through a few lessons I learned on my journey that can help you think about how do we create that culture of belonging and connection for all of our people, our entire team, and most importantly, all of our customers and clients and the people that we serve. The first lesson I learned is that you have to stop comparing yourself to others and start caring for others. Stop comparing yourself to others and start caring for others. Because I went back and I interviewed my friend, the baller corporate lawyer. I was like, man, you got it all figured out, don't you? Got that amazing job, making all that money, that penthouse apartment, you're married. Like, what's your secret? What am I doing wrong? You know what he told me? After 3 years of law school, landing a job at one of the top law firms in the world, he was miserable in his job. He was still happily married, which is wonderful. He was miserable in his job. He was going to go back to graduate school at the age of 30 to become a high school social studies teacher, a history teacher, which is really sweet for him. But what's the lesson there? The grass is always greener. We think everyone has it figured out because their highlight reels on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok, everything looks so perfect, so beautiful. In reality, everyone's a little bit lost. Everyone's a little bit lonely. Everyone is looking for more meaning and more belonging and more connection in their lives. Stop comparing yourself to others. Start caring for others. And I came across this beautiful book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Has anyone read this book? A couple hands go up, yeah. I think it's one of the most beautiful books ever written. It's also one of the best-selling books ever written. Who is Viktor Frankl? He was a psychiatrist who survived the Holocaust. He was from Austria. He survived living in a Nazi concentration camp during pretty much everyone around him was being killed, including his own family, including his own mother, including his own wife. And he was talking to people about what allowed them to go on in the face of near certain death. If you weren't going to die in 2 weeks, in a month, like you were going to die. And he writes in this book that being human always points and is directed to something or someone other than oneself, be it a meaning to fulfill or another human being to encounter. The more one forgets themselves by giving themselves to a cause to serve or another person to love, the more human they are. So that meaning and belonging come not from what we've been taught by society, accumulating wealth and status and success, but from giving it away, from love, from service, from compassion. And I'm not saying we're all gonna go quit our jobs and work for a charity or church. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying it means we have to approach how we lead our payroll teams, how we show up every day from a place of love, of service, of compassion, of allowing our people to show up and share their uniqueness with each other every single day. So I think what this looks like visually is not perfection. There's no such thing as the perfect job. That's why it's called a job. But alignment, helping our people find just a little bit more personal alignment in their day-to-day role, in their day-to-day work, in their day-to-day life. How can they align with their unique gifts, with the impact they want to have, surround themselves with a community at work that really lights them up inside and allows them to care for others? And if we were all to fill out this diagram right now, we'd have a couple thousand completely unique definitions of alignment, because we're unique individuals with unique talents and skills. Impact means different things to different people. Community looks different to different people. So we have to create the space in this hyper-growth AI world where we can't seem to stop moving, to create the space for people to find out what alignment looks like for them. If we pull back a little bit, what does this mean in the context of the big shift to hybrid work, the rapid adoption of AI, the multi-generational workforce that we find ourselves in? What does this mean? Well, for the first time in history, we have as many as 6 generations joining every single day at work. So Gen Alpha, I know we probably don't have any 15-year-olds coming into work every day, but they're coming in quick. This is a generation that does not know a world without ChatGPT. iGen, Gen Z, iGen, the smartphone generation, a generation that does not know a world without the iPhone. Double click, that's too much work. Swipe right, I can get what? An Uber, a car, a hotel, food delivered, a place to stay, a date. Didn't work so well for me, works for some people. Then those people get to the office and they're like, I should probably get a raise. A raise? It's your 3rd day. I should be SVP, I should be Senior Vice President. You've been here for 3.5 weeks. Swipe right. Between millennials and Gen Z, currently make up 50% of the workforce. Some data shows that in the next 5 to 10 years, they will make up as much as 80% of the workforce because so many baby boomers are retiring. So I myself am an elder millennial. I was born in the early 80s. It's like, we understand technology, we get it. We had early email, AOL Instant Messenger. We got dysentery playing Oregon Trail, like we get it. But back in the day, if you made plans to meet up with someone at 7 p.m. and they're not there, like, you got stood up. You're going home. It's not like I can't find you on Google Maps, my Uber's late. It's like, unless there's a payphone right there and you're both sketchy enough to have a pager, like, you're going home. Gen X, give it up for Gen X. Some love. Gen X gets no love. I guarantee you, if you go to any business industry conference anywhere in the world on any day, there is not one session that says Gen X anything. We need to invest more in our mid-career talent. And baby boomers, I think we're often treating baby boomers as if they're already out the door, as if there's just a clock and they're just waiting it down to retirement. When these are the people who have built our organizations, built our legacy, are the reason that we're gonna succeed into the future. Thank you. And people are working later and later into their lives, either out of financial necessity to provide for their families or because they love their work. So we have to create a workplace that works for everyone on this slide. I do, however, want to swipe right a little bit on next-gen talent because I think it gives us some clues into where workplace culture is and where it's headed. First of all, timely, fast, digital, personalized updates. Does anyone know the average attention span of a Gen Zer right now? Those of you that have young kids should probably get this very quickly. It is 8 seconds. 8 seconds. 3 hours a day on TikTok, 8-second attention span. So when these people come to us being like, I want to get paid, or I want a job, I want to work here, and we say, we'll get back to you in 3 weeks. 3 weeks? This person doesn't remember what happened 3.5 minutes ago. 3 weeks. So I'm not saying that we hire them on the spot, obviously, but that conversation has to be fast. It has to be about them. They are not applying for the role that the person had 6 years ago. Frankly, they are not applying for the role that the person had 6 weeks ago. They are applying for the role for their future. So when people talk about flexibility today, it often only means like work from home, work from anywhere. I want to work from home on Fridays. Like, I don't want to put on pants. Like, I love sweatpants. Like, I don't want to commute. Actually, I think what it currently means is the ability to have agency and autonomy in terms of how your career is going to grow and develop. So you're doing something different in a few months, you get exposure to different people across the organization, even if you don't work with them every day, and you get to meet people in your industry, even if they're not at your company. Personal and professional success, a sense of thriving. This is something that has changed across the generations. It used to be that you expected your job to provide professional growth, right? Access to skills, mentors, training, kind of get promoted, work your way up the career ladder, get a raise, get a promotion. Increasingly, people are looking for personal growth at work. This sense of how to be an adult, how to navigate an intimidating, overwhelming world. And people say to me, yeah, but Smiley, like these young people, like they want me to be their mother at work. It's like, I'm not your mom, I'm your boss. I'm not your father, like I pay you to do a job. I understand that. But if on Monday morning, when that person comes to us with their entire life story, and oh my God, I can't believe this date I went on this weekend, and oh my God, you can't see my Instagram. And instead of just being like, I can't, leave me alone, I never want to talk to you again, we take a deep breath and say, tell me more. What's on your mind? How can I support you? Have you read this book? Have you listened to this podcast? Have you had a coffee meeting with this person? You know, when I was your age, this was really helpful. You should really talk to Susan or Amanda or Mark or Richard. Richard doesn't even work here, but I think he'd be a valuable person for you to talk to. That creates that sense of thriving. A culture built on mental health and well-being. We used to never talk about mental health at work. Mental health, it was like, if you got mental health issues, like go see a therapist. If you can get an appointment Tuesday night at 8 p.m. or Saturday morning, good luck. It took a pandemic for us to start talking about mental health in the workplace. It took a pandemic. Frankly, it took a pandemic for us to start talking about supporting the needs of working parents in the workplace, specifically working women in the workplace. According to LinkedIn, 66% of Gen Z expect that their culture, their workplace culture, is going to be rooted in mental health and well-being. And it's not just young people. According to the American Psychological Association, 92% of all workers expect that their culture is going to look out for their emotional and psychological well-being. So this is where things are headed. So when we talk about the reality shaping the future workplace, the overwhelm, the disconnection, the burnout, the uncertainty, 60% of employees lack the time or the energy to do their job. 70% don't have enough time to learn the AI skills that would help them save time. They don't have the time to learn the AI skills that would help them do their job faster and more efficiently in the first place. So people say all the time, AI is not going to replace your job. Your job is going to be replaced by someone who understands how to use AI. Well, guess what? I disagree. Your job is not going to be replaced by AI. It is going to be replaced by someone who understands how to connect with other people in a world of AI. Your job is going to be replaced by someone who understands how to connect with other human beings in a world where AI is dominant. Why this matters, especially so much for all of us working in payroll, in HR, supporting our people with getting paid, providing for their families, is because we are in the midst of a loneliness epidemic. It was raging prior to the pandemic, and it's only gotten worse. 50% of Americans are lonely. 1 in 2. Loneliness is as dangerous to your health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's correlated with increased risk of stress, anxiety, depression, even death. And guess what? 80% of young people are lonely. And you're like, Smiley, these young people cannot be lonely. Literally all day long, they're scrolling, they're sending an emoji, they're double tapping a photo, like they're just on. Well, it turns out that swiping right or sending an emoji is not real human connection. In fact, it takes 90 hours with someone, IRL, in real life, for them to become a friend. 200 for them to become a close friend. So right now, 1 in 5 people don't have someone for a close social conversation, which means if someone in their family were to get sick, they would have nobody to call, which is just heartbreaking. 15% of men have zero close friends at all. And this isn't just like, Smiley, yeah, friendship. Wouldn't it be nice if people had more friends, whatever. This is a bottom line business issue. So lonely and disconnected employees, more missed days at work, double the sick days, 45% lower productivity, lower quality of work, higher risk of turnover. They cost their employers $154 billion per year in lost productivity. And on the flip side, connection is the cure. So when people do not have to hide their true self at work, whatever that looks like for them, they are 9 points less lonely on the UCLA loneliness scale. When they have a best friend at work, employees who have a best friend at work are 7 times more engaged at their job. In fact, if you do not have a close friend at work, there is only a 1 in 12 chance you will be engaged at work. When technology is used to make meaningful connections, so not to just assign more work, or I need that by 5 o'clock, or fill out this spreadsheet, but actually to learn and grow and to connect with each other. When we have shared goals with our colleagues, a sense of mission and vision and purpose, our leaders, they set that North Star. We know where we're going. We know the strategy. We know our role. We're in it together. We're all on the ship headed in the right direction. Simply picking up the phone and calling someone, oh my gosh, imagine that. I could fire off this email to 12 people. It's going to be a back and forth for scheduling for 2 weeks. Half the people won't read it. Nothing's going to get done. I could just pick up the phone and call this person, probably be done with this in about 2.5 minutes. Work-life separation. Notice that doesn't say work-life balance, because I'm not sure, has anyone ever figured that out? It's not possible, right? Because if we are at the dinner table with our kids, firing off emails, if we are on vacation firing off emails, and obviously there are emergencies, what do you think our team's gonna do when they're on vacation with their kids? When they're at the dinner table with their family? The ability to leave work at work. So employees have low levels of belonging, more stress, more burnout, more loneliness, more anxiety and depression, high levels of belonging, more resilience, better well-being, more personal growth, 92% more professional growth. So again, this is a bottom line business issue. Increase in job performance, drop in turnover risk, reduction in sick days, 18 times more promotions, double the raises, 170% increase in the chance that you're gonna recommend your job to someone else, results in an annual savings of $52 million. So I love this definition of belonging from Liz Fosslien and Molly West Duffy. They wrote this book called No Hard Feelings, which is about the power of emotions at work. Belonging is having your voice be heard. So I think a lot of times, we think we have belonging. Yeah, Smiley, yeah, we went around the conference room. Everyone said something, right? Or throw it in the chat, throw it in the Teams chat. Or the most common is, Smiley, we did a survey. Smiley, we did a survey. We did 2 surveys, Smiley. We're good. But belonging is something deeper. It's, was everyone's voice in the room listened to? Was everyone's feedback on the survey paid attention to? Did we listen to the voices we always listen to, maybe the ones that have the most seniority or tenure, right? Or did we follow up with the very people who are like, I disagree with everything this person has ever said? That's the person we're like, tell me more. I can't fix that next week, or maybe even in 6 months, or maybe even this entire year, but I want to try, and I want you to be a part of helping me address it and holding me accountable to addressing it. That creates a sense of belonging. So when I think about payroll power up and taking our work and elevating it to the next level, I want to make sure that everyone in the payroll industry feels listened to, accepted, and celebrated. That our teams have time to connect, not just at a happy hour, right, or once a year at an offsite, but within the work week, within the work day, to connect, to play, to learn, to create. That people can ask for help and receive care. That people can share their gifts and find just a little bit more alignment in their life, in their work. That we're creating opportunities for learning something new about each other, for discovering others in a new light. Or I've never seen that leader try that before. They just got up on karaoke, like, oh my gosh. Like, we're creating that culture. So before I go on, I just want to take a few minutes here. We're going to take 4 minutes total. We're talking about connection, talking about belonging. I want you to turn to the person next to you. If the person that's sitting right next to you is literally the person you know the best in this entire room, pivot just slightly more so that you find somebody else. And we're going to take 2 minutes each, so 4 minutes total. And I just want you to introduce yourselves and share an experience, a moment where you felt personal belonging at work, either in your current job, previous job, whatever that means for you. 2 minutes each. The person with the brighter color shirt or blouse on can share first. 4 minutes total, and I'm going to bring us back in 4 minutes, okay? All right, thanks so much. If I can have your attention back to the front of the room. If you can hear the sound of my voice, clap once. If you hear the sound of my voice, clap twice. All right. Great. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you for getting vulnerable. I think when we do this, we often realize, like, we're like, I think that person belongs here. They feel like they belong, right? Or they don't feel like they belong. The truth is we actually have no idea until we ask them and start to hear some of these stories. And sometimes we learn it's like the smallest things, right? It's like they remembered my kid's name or their birthday. Or when my mom was sick, they sent flowers to the hospital. Like, it's these little things that often determine whether someone feels a sense of belonging. So with our time left, what I want to suggest are some kind of simple culture mindset shifts and a bunch of practical tips, habits, tools you can use to build a culture of belonging, human connection, however large your team is, however small. And the cool thing is none of these require any money, any budget, any sign-off, but they do require some time and intention and energy. So the first is to really think that in the current landscape, in this overwhelmed, distracted world, huge move to AI, that purpose is personal. Yes, it's that mission, that strategy on the front page of our company's website, like, which is probably like in some way, we're changing the world, or look at our global impact, or assets under management, or we're amazing. It's like, yes, you are. Yes, that's the mission, that's the guiding light. And I think in the current paradigm of the future of work, purpose is personal too. It's we're listening to our people. What are they asking for? Like childcare. Or like Tuesdays at 2 o'clock, I'm gonna miss that. I don't have daycare, I can't pick up my kids, I'm gonna miss that meeting. You know I always get my job done, like we're good. Like that's purpose enough having that conversation. However, if we were to actually ask our people what flexibility meant to them today, they'd be like, I wanna work where I want, when I want, with whom I want, on what I want, how I want. This is not work. This is taking a vacation on a beach in Mexico, sipping a margarita. Like, this is not a job, right? However, within that, what are people asking for? The ability to reimagine their purpose and their potential at work, to do something that they care about, to work on a project in a few months that lights them up inside. That they're really struggling with their current supervisor, and well, it turns out, according to our employee engagement data, 10 other people are also struggling with that manager. Maybe the problem isn't this employee, it's the manager, right? So hybrid isn't just where we work, it's how we connect, right? Because a lot of times people are being forced, and you gotta be in person, right, on Wednesday. Wednesday's in-person day, so they leave the breakfast table with their kids, they gotta put on pants, like, oh my gosh, gotta put on pants. right? They don't have that extra 20 minutes with their daughter in the morning. They sit in traffic for 30 minutes, or they get on the bus, the subway. They finally get to their desk at work. Their boss who called the meeting isn't even there. Or the rest of their team is sitting there in wall-to-wall Teams and Zoom meetings all day long with noise-canceling headphones on. Like, why did I just sit in traffic for 30 minutes? Why did I not have an extra 20 minutes with my daughter this morning? So we have to design for human connection at the office and make it worth it for the in-person, and when people are remote and virtual and everywhere in between. A couple practical tips here. Not always talking about work. Taking that 5 minutes, Smiley, we don't have 5 minutes. Okay, 1 minute. At the start of a meeting where people can just have a check-in, how was your weekend, what's going on, is anything coming up for you, what's up with the kids? And people are like, oh, Smiley, I don't want to talk about my personal life at work. I'm just here to get paid. I'm just here to get my job done. Cool. That person can just say, pass, skip, no thank you, not today. But they don't get to create a culture where other people don't get to share because it might be very important for them. Creating an about me doc, right? Whether you're an introvert, an extrovert, I get my best work done in the mornings, in the evenings. I like to work by myself with one other person, with 2 people, with 10 people. And it's not just solve every person's demands. It's just simply have the conversation so we know who our people are and how they work best and how they do their best work. Shift number 2, from it's just HR's job to belonging is everyone's job. People are like, yeah, Smiley, we have a CHRO, they're on it. We have a chief people officer, culture team, like everything you're talking about is their job. In the current climate, in the current future of work, shift to AI, belonging is everyone's job. Whether you've been with us for 20 years, for 2 years, for 2 weeks, belonging is your job too, creating that culture where you feel seen and heard and the people around you feel seen and heard. So Google did some research a couple years ago that was looking at what makes the most high-performing team at Google, right? They have access to pretty much unlimited funding. They can hire pretty much anyone they want from anywhere in the world, right? And they're thinking, okay, it must be this person with this many degrees. Their CV is 10 pages long. They sold all these companies. They're super successful. They actually found that it had nothing to do with how successful people were and everything to do with what was present in the room when people got together. That is to say, the most high-performing teams exhibited high degrees of psychological safety, that they could take risks and be vulnerable in front of each other. They could not know the answer. They saw their leaders being like, I don't know. What do you think? Or, I got that wrong, or we messed up. We can do better, right? That creates psychological safety. Practical tip here, try one new thing every meeting. I mean, we have so many meetings, I guarantee you it is literally impossible to try one new thing, but we can try. Right? Whether that's a different prompt, switching up facilitators. Oh my God, the same person leading every meeting, it's so boring, right? Just trying something different, keeping it spicy, keeping it interesting and fresh. Small win parties, sharing mistakes and doubts. There's a lot of research that shows that the path to human flourishing is all about celebrating the little things along the way. Not just did we meet our annual goal or we're celebrating someone's 25 years before they retire, but actually the little things along the way. Just like, you did a good job this week. Like, let's celebrate that. Like those little things are actually scientifically proven to create flourishing. Shift number 3, from culture fit to culture transformation. I think for a long time they had this sense of like, yeah, like we're looking for culture fit. Like they'd be a good fit here. They'd fit in. Which not always, but often means like, you know, like they're not gonna rock the boat too much, right? Or they think like us, or they look like us, right? But really what we're looking for is culture transformation. People are gonna build a whole new skill set and have a different dynamic background and expertise that we actually don't have, that have a different way of thinking that we do, that are gonna help our culture evolve and grow and transform. That's what we're looking for. So I actually had the opportunity to talk to a couple of your esteemed colleagues about how they build connection on their teams and how this relates to their work and all of your work in payroll. So I just wanna give a shout out to some of those folks and share the lessons that they taught me. So first of all, Nadia, where's Nadia Camarena? Are you here? There you go. Give it up for Nadia, Director of Global Payroll Operations at Netflix. She's been there for 16 years, 32 years in payroll. Sarah Chastney, where's Sarah? Oh, yes, Sarah. 3 years, she's the director of payroll at Banfield Pet Hospital. She's been there for a few years, but has been in payroll for 20 years. Carney Kim, where's Carney? I saw him right before. There's Carney over there. Payroll manager at Alexander and Baldwin, has been there 5 years, 15 years in payroll. And lastly, Ryan Yanetta. Where's Ryan? Oh, Ryan, there you go. Vice President for Implementation at Excensus HR. It's been there 3 years and 20 years in payroll. So these folks shared some really interesting lessons. First of all, our work is all about impact. Nadia mentioned this, like, people don't usually grow up wanting to do payroll, but it's such a rewarding career. I love my community. I love my team. Ryan said, every client, every day is a new experience. Sarah, I love solving puzzles, making an impact. Carney, payroll is not always value, but when we finally break through and our employer sees our value, it's beautiful. Sarah mentioned that simply eliminating paper checks helped her company save $300,000 a year. Not bad. Building relationships everywhere, right? Nadia mentioned that she visits, obviously Netflix, a global company, every region once a year. Weekly 7 a.m. team meetings, right, to accommodate people's different time zones. That's early, but just once a week. Sarah, that's researching team building activities to keep things fresh, enjoying coming in, laughing a lot. Not a day goes by without emailing another payroll person, likely that you met here at PayCon, about what's going on or a question. Carney called that trauma bonding. Ryan, this idea of getting texts from employees when they pass their CPP, that's how invested he is in their career growth and how much, even if they're not still working together, they come back and tell him what's going on. Meeting the next generation where they are, right? Showing those career growth opportunities while also setting clear work expectations. It's that balance, right? Help them, keep them moving. Rotational programs, exposure to new projects, FP&A reporting, so they're learning new things. Remember, their attention span is so short. Show them the possibilities, right? Payroll can be where your career goes to blossom, to grow, to develop. This idea of reverse mentorship, tapping into what they do best, their tech mindset, developing them from those entry-level roles. And lastly, elevating payroll in an uncertain world, right? Things are changing so quickly right now. I know you're going to talk about AI throughout this week, but embracing AI as a tool, not a threat, showing the case studies, teaching others the value. Support growing payroll, people that work in payroll, their salaries alongside HR and finance roles. Ryan mentioned payroll is not a little old lady sitting in a room, right? We're integrating payroll into AI, Copilot, OKRs, like we are like taking this to the next level. People can trust us, right? Which is so important that they can get the truth from us in this overwhelming world, right? We have this increasing responsibility. We're the reason that people come to work. Right? We're the reason that people come to work. So thank you to those folks for sharing. Shift number 4, from hustle to human connection. I think we've seen where hustle culture has gotten us as a society. It's not that beautiful of a place, right? We've broken a lot of things. We've broken a lot of people. The average employee right now switches between applications 1,100 times a day, sends and receives over 125 business emails per day, checks their inbox hundreds of times a day, checks email or Teams every 6 minutes. Everyone's like, yeah, that's kind of true. I'm not sure how it's possible to get any actual real work done when this is the case. But more importantly, I'm not sure how it's possible to have time for human connection when this is the case. So this is what we're up against, designing for human connection in this distracted, always-on, technologically advanced world. Practical tip, onboardings and trainings, all about community building. When we do bring people together, the most important thing that happens there is that people made a new connection, right? We can send out the slides, the PDF afterwards, but we don't get that time back. My friend Joanna Miller, she was running learning and development for Asana, they're a task management software company based in the Bay Area. She said that what people most got out of onboarding was not like, here's how to do your job, or here's what you need to do, or the 50 things you're responsible for, or how to set up your email. It was, did they make a new friend? Could they turn to someone else and be like, I don't really understand what's happening here. Me neither, let's be friends. Or I don't really agree with what he's talking about. Me neither, let's be friends. Intergenerational co-leadership. So this is where we're pairing early talent, maybe that 26-year-old, right, that's got a lot of fresh ideas, is really hungry, right, with that person that has decades more experience in payroll. right? Because you're gonna get that 26-year-old to be like, wow, I don't really understand a lot of things happening here. It's like, no, you don't, you're 26 years old. And you're also gonna get that person who's much later in their career being like, interesting, this person's thinking about this in a whole different way. They represent the future of our employee. They also represent the future of our client, of our customer. I should probably understand what's in their head. You get that symbiotic relationship. Time for renewal, taking breaks. Employees who take a break every 90 minutes report a higher level of focus, creative thinking, well-being. Simply leaving their desk at home, leaving their workstation at the office, stepping outside, having a cup of coffee, sitting in the sun, calling their mom, whatever. When they come back, they do better work. And lastly, from growth at all costs to a care mindset. I think we get the profitable growth we're looking for. We get the growth we're looking for when we double down on care, when we put our people first. So Thrive interviews. So I'm sure we all probably know what an exit interview is. It's like, this is my last day. Let me tell you everything that sucks about working here. That would have been helpful information to have a couple of months ago. This has led to stay interviews. This is something Adam Grant talks about, the organizational psychologist. Like, what would make you stay here? What if we took that one step further? Like, what would make you thrive here? What do you need to do your best work? And again, it's not about checking every single box on someone's list. It's simply about having that conversation. Small, little acts of kindness, right? Remembering someone's favorite coffee order, or their sandwich from their favorite deli, or being the person that brings in warm strawberry donuts on a Friday, and a few weeks later, people ask, like, what's the coolest thing that happened to you the last couple of weeks? Like, the strawberry donuts, the strawberry donuts. It's like, not like something that your like husband did, your wife did, like, no, the strawberry donuts, right? Sending a gratitude text. Do we have any Philadelphia Eagles fans in the house? Cool. Yeah, cool. Any Kansas City Chiefs fans in the house? Yeah, I apologize to the Chiefs fans for this one, but I was reading a story about how Nick Sirianni, the coach of the Eagles, would write a handwritten note, a handwritten letter to each one of his players, and he'd put it in their locker room, not tell them when it was gonna be there, sometime in the season. So for some players, it was in preseason, sometimes in week 1, week 3, week 16 during the playoffs. And the players talk about how they would carry these letters with them the entire season in their travel bags. Like, these are grown men, carrying these letters from their coach because he would see, comment on what he saw in them, their growth, something in their personal life, like somebody was struggling with fertility and he was talking about that and helping them along the way. Like, that's how he built that deep connection, right? So there's a lot of research that shows sending a gratitude text, we're like, oh, whatever, thank you, who cares? To the person receiving it, it might be the most important thing that happened to them all week, all month. Simply just saying, I'm really grateful, here's how you showed up, thank you for doing this. So I want to end here with a story that gets at the heart of what I'm trying to leave you with all today. So I mentioned I made this huge career leap. I left Washington, D.C., moved 3,000 miles across the country to San Francisco, California, to follow a dream of becoming an author. Now, there's a couple things you should know. Being an author is really hard. Writing a book takes 5 years. You make no money. Number 2, San Francisco is literally the most expensive city in the world. Why did I quit my job? Can I go get it back? I made a big mistake. So one night, I'm biking home in San Francisco. Remember, I don't drive that much. Biking home, minding my own business, on my way to get some tacos. When all of a sudden, this guy bikes alongside me and says, my name's Bernat, I'm from Spain. I was like, I don't know who the hell you are. And I tried to bike away. He keeps biking alongside me. My name's Bernat, I'm from Spain. I was like, who are you? Leave me alone. You gotta be careful talking to random people on the street in San Francisco, let me tell you. He keeps biking alongside me. My name's Bernat, I'm from Spain. I'm a designer. I live in Barcelona. I'm looking for a design job here in the Bay Area. There's no jobs in Spain right now. There's a lot of unemployment. And I said to him, oh, that's interesting. Barcelona, beautiful city. I visited once. I had a friend that was living there. That's the most beautiful city I've ever been to in the entire world. And he's like, yeah, Barcelona's pretty great. He's like, well, what are you up to? How do you spend your days? What are you working on right now? I tell him, oh, I'm writing this book about people trying to find more meaning and more belonging and more connection in their lives. They're really lost. I'm trying to help them. And he's like, oh, well, do you have a cover designer yet? I was like, no. He's like, well, go home, check out my website. Maybe we can work together. So I go home. I get tacos first, obviously. I go home, I check out this guy Bernat's website. I was like, wow, he's pretty good. He had like samples of his work, portfolio. I was like, this guy's a pretty good designer. So I post on Facebook later that night. I just met this wild dude, Bernat, while I was biking home tonight. He hails from Spain, from Barcelona. He's looking for a design job here in the Bay Area. If you know of anything, let him know. A couple minutes later, my buddy Yi comments on the Facebook thread. Oh, Bernat should talk to my friends. They're doing this mobile startup in Palo Alto, California. There's like 5 of them. They don't really have a lead designer yet. Maybe they can work together. A couple weeks later, Bernat meets with the team. He gets hired to be the lead designer for this tiny mobile startup in Palo Alto, California. He gets a work visa to stay in the United States, which is a very big deal for him because there was so much unemployment in Spain where he's from. He sends me a quick thank you note, but a couple years go by, I don't really hear from the guy. And 2.5 years later, I get a text message from Bernat out of the blue. Smiley, I'm taking you out to dinner anywhere you want to go. I was like, sweet, I'd love to get taken out to dinner. I'm an author, I'm broke, free food, like, let's go. So go out to this nice restaurant, get a bunch of food, a bottle of wine. I'm like, what's going on, man? Why are you taking me out to dinner? Turns out, the mobile startup he'd been working for had just been acquired by Yahoo for $80 million. He's the 5th employee at the company. He's paid entirely in equity. He definitely could afford to take me out to dinner. And he says to me, Smiley, thank you. This wouldn't have happened if not for you. And I said to him, nah, man, thank you. Because this guy talked to a random stranger in a city he didn't live in a country he wasn't from, on a bicycle. Like, who the hell does that? So I think what I'm getting at here is that we have to build a culture on our teams, the culture at Paycon, where people can make those big, bold asks, where they can channel their inner Bernat, where they can go outside their comfort zone, where they can speak their truth, where they can ask for what they need. And we're not going to be able to say yes 100% of the time, or even 50% of the time. But we create that culture where people feel seen and heard and feel like they belong. And I think if we do that, we create a culture of belonging, not just in this room, not just at our companies and organizations, but most importantly, for the people and the communities and the neighborhoods that we serve, many of whom are struggling right now. Thank you so much. It was wonderful to be with all of you. Thank you.